Hunnies? Welcome back to the podcast. Wasn't it crazy that there's so many songs in like the early 2000s that are like, I love you so much. I'm so in love with you. You're literally everything to me. You're everything I could ever want. I mean, I obviously already have a boyfriend, but I would leave him for you maybe. But then I don't think they do leave the boyfriend. I think they're just like, I think it's just fun for people to be like unrequited in love. You know?
For sure.
People love to have a crush.
And
It is really fun to have a crush. Having a crush is so much fun. It's actually way more fun than like
Being
most real relationships. Yeah. Most actual relationships are not nearly as fun as the crush. The crush is like, oh, they could be anyone. They could be like, oh, you know, you're walking down for me, I'll have like specific songs that I'll listen to that I still really like, but they'll remind me of when I had a specific crush on someone, and I would just walk around and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that was my song for that person.
Yeah.
One of them is like the song Cassie, Me and You. It's like, it's me and you now. I've been waiting. Think I'm gonna make my move. I never made my move. Never once made my move. Was like, I'm never ever gonna make my move. Someone's gonna make a move on me. I'm gonna be the person who's made moves on. But I wasn't. But I would walk around and be like, you've been waiting so long. I'm here to answer your call.
Oh, that song's great.
And then it is great. And then I would imagine that I was like at some sort of like wet t-shirt contest or some sort of like random beach party where they needed someone to like rap all of the lyrics to Nicki Minaj. And I would be like, I'm the person who's going to rap all the lyrics to Nicki Minaj or do a wet t-shirt contest. And in these fantasies, I can always do the splits, even though I can't actually do the splits. I really wish I could do the splits. But in these fantasies, I can always do the splits. I can always like twerk amazingly. Whereas in real life, if I really want to be honest with myself, I used to be better at actually twerking, but sometimes I lose it. I really lose it. Like there can be times where I'm out and the pelvis isn't doing what it needs to do. I'm not loose. I'm stiff. You know, I've been trying to do too many things that day. I'm exhausted. I've been sitting on the couch with my shoulders hunched up to here. That's not conducive to good twerking. Like sometimes the twerk just doesn't happen. But in my fantasies, I can always twerk perfectly. I can do the splits. I can rap every single song. I look hot as hell. I have way more hair than I actually have in these fantasies. Like I always have like big flowing, like crazy, like locks, you know, where I'm like whipping it around. And in these fantasies, my crush is always in like the front row. And it's like, and I was just like, watch this. And then I just got up on stage and it was like full crazy, like music video performance scene, and the crowd was like, we didn't expect this. Everyone else on this fucking talent show is shit. I don't know why it's always a talent show. Maybe because that was like what I first thought of when I was like in grade 5 or something. I was like, this talent, he's gonna see me at the talent show and he's gonna be like, whoa. And when I was actually in grade 5 or 6, it would be the same thing, but it was a school talent show. And that fantasy, not real life. I don't think I ever did a talent show in real life. The only talent show I ever did was in grade 6 when I sang the song Grills with my 4 white friends. Terrible idea. We got in grade 6, we were obsessed with the song Grills. And so we got up and we were like, smile for me, daddy. What you looking at? I want to see your grills. You want to see my what? Yeah, your grills. Yeah, your grills. And I'm on top now and let the body roll. And we did that. We were like, dum, 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 dum. And I think my 6th grade teacher was like, you have to stop. You can't continue. Yeah, we were like 12 and we were like, this is the best thing we could be doing with our time, is rehearsing a full song choreography to Grills.
It's the best thing we could do with our time.
The absolute best thing we could be doing right now in the 6th grade is this. And so we did it. We did Grills. But anyway, I would have these like visions of me. And at the time I couldn't even like sing. I definitely couldn't twerk. I really had no talents whatsoever. I wasn't particularly like interesting or outgoing, but I would have these like fantasy. I had a gap tooth. Not that it's bad to have a gap tooth. Some people rock a gap tooth, but I had like a lot of gaps in a lot of my teeth. Like it wasn't just like a front gap tooth that was like, oh my God, yeah, hot Madonna. It was like gap. Like it was just like the gappiest mouth you've ever seen. It looked like I was missing teeth between my teeth. Like that's the kind of gaps I was talking about. And I had these I had these like heavy cheeks, like a bulldog, like, you know, like they were weighing down either side of my face, and like kind of stringy blonde hair. And I was a little chubby. It was like a cute chubby for that age, but not like a sexy chubby. Like it wasn't like I was turning anyone on. I had no tits, just bee stings, you know, big round belly, little chunky monkey arms and you know, whatever. And I love to wear like shorts and like a top that would let my belly hang out. You know that vibe? You know that like 12-year-old vibe? Yeah. It's a very specific 12-year-old body. Anyway, so
They have a bit of a gut.
yeah, a huge gut, but it was like hanging
Tummy hangs
out.
out?
It was like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like
It's fun.
It is fun. Of course
Yeah.
it's fun. But looking back now, I'm like, yeah, it was fun. But at the time, I ignored all of that because in my mind, I didn't actually care what I looked like because in my mind, I was this like sexy, sultry, like cover of J14 magazine queen.
J14.
J14 was like a popular magazine and it was like for 14-year-olds. I actually remember, so I'm the youngest, on my mom's side, I'm the youngest of 6 girl cousins. Yeah. And so but I never saw them because they were in Kelowna and then, and I grew up in Ontario. And so I would see them like once a year, once every 2 years or whatever the fuck. And I remember when I would, the oldest ones were always like, oh, she's so cute. I want to like play with her. But I was like, don't call me cute. I'm cool like you guys. And then the ones that were like 3 or 4 years older than me, because I'm the youngest by like 3 or 4 years, they were fucking bitches. And they would hang a J14 magazine over my head. I promised I would get back there in my head. I promised. You guys didn't know, but I knew. But they would hang a J14 magazine over my head and they'd be like, can't read it until you're 14. And they were 14 and I was like 10 or 11 or something.
14 and up.
And I was like, oh, I was like, I would like try to explain to them. I would be like, no, my mom lets me read it at home. And then, oh, your mommy lets you read it at home. I was like, fuck you guys. Anyway, but in my mind, I was like this hot J14 cover girl. There was not really any J14 cover girls. Maybe
J11.
Miley Cyrus or Hannah Montana or something. I'm really showing my age here with everything I'm telling you guys specifically. Which I'm terrified of doing because everyone knows that the worst thing a woman could do in the world of entertainment is age. So I'm not trying to expose myself.
Or have a boyfriend.
I got Botox too. Yeah. It's not a good idea to have a boyfriend or a husband if you want to age. I actually saw an ad recently. Mindy Kaling was talking about her masterclass, and it was like one of those ads for masterclass where it was like, if I can do it, you can do it. Comedy writing, blah. And like, I love Mindy Kaling. I've always really respected her and like admired her career. She was writing on The Office at 24. She's kind of like a prodigy of comedy writing. But I saw that and I was like, oh my God, like it's just supposed to be motivational, but it just does the opposite to me. It makes me feel like I'm extremely running out of time. Like there's not enough fucking time for anything. I'm never going to do anything with my life. My fucking prime is past. And then you have all these people being like, don't do any things to yourself. Just love yourself. And it's like, I would love to love myself. I would actually really fucking love to love myself. I would really enjoy that. If somebody could make that like a little bit of a hair easier, that would be amazing. If somebody could prove to me that I won't be irrelevant if I don't try to make myself look as young and infantile as possible, I would absolutely love to see the proof that works. Please, please, please. You want me to love myself? Great. Help me do it. Anyway, so I saw this. It was like a Mindy Kaling thing. But then at the end of it, she was like, it was very like, I can do it. You can do it. And I was like, no, don't tell that to people. That's not true. Like you can give us a master class on it, but like you're freaking a prodigy of comedy, right? Anyway, whatever. I get the sentiment. She was just kind of like, I have an insane work ethic. So if you want to have an insane work ethic, you can do something too. But I was like, this is I'm so much more aware of marketing. I miss when I was 20 years old and you could put on a commercial and I'd be like, what a beautiful, beautiful commercial. And it could be for TELUS. And I would be like, they just really love to showcase animals. And that's really sweet. And not realize that they're totally trying to just get us to buy stuff. But now I'm hyper aware of marketing. I'm actually not hyper aware. You can really easily swindle me. I would love to see a really, really well thought out commercial. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Amazon has a commercial right now about like bachelorette parties, and I think it's really fun and cute. And then Aaron's like, oh, Amazon's trying to do marketing now. Why? And I'm like, oh yeah, everything is marketing. Crazy. I have to remember. I'm such a consumer. It's so easy to get me. You show me something, you're like, I do need that. That will be my life and my aesthetic. Excuse me if I get that thing. Anyway, so Mindy Kaling was on and she was like talking about masterclass and comedy writing, whatever. And then at the end, she was like, there's a reason I never married. And I was like, yikes, Mindy. Like, you're saying that you can't be successful if you marry? Like, what the fuck are we talking about right now? Also, doesn't you have 2 or 3 kids? Sorry, but I'm pretty sure that children take up a lot more time than a loving partner. Now, I get what she's saying because most of the time husbands are trash. Why would you have a husband? Sounds like a terrible time. They don't seem to do anything, and they seem to completely just succubus off of all of your energy and behavior and make you think that you're stupid because they're jealous of you and all of your success and the way that your brain works because they don't have any emotional intelligence. That's most of the time with husbands. However, I feel like a lot of people who would get married to people, husbands or wives or whatever, they would have really loving partners. And if you have a really loving partner, I don't think that that should be a thing that holds you back. But then Mindy Kaling's in my phone telling me that it's going to hold me back to be in love. And so I'm like, oh my God, you know, I have to, and I wish I wasn't so easily like susceptible to being like, oh my God, does that mean my life is over? Like, I just love an authority figure. I love when someone tells me what to do and someone's like, above me. And I give authority so easily. Like if I walk into the grocery store and I don't know where something is and I ask literally the 14-year-old teenager with acne and their finger up their nose where something is and they're like, we don't have it. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Okay, sir, you're the king of the grocery store. You know everything. Like I'm so willing to acquiesce to other people who I'm like, you're the leader of the grocery store, I guess. Like I don't know what that
Really?
is. Yeah.
I've grabbed teenagers and be like, oh, let's find it together. I'll show you where it is for the next person.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I like that quality. It's like a sense of control in being like, no, I can figure this. And I
just know they have it.
yeah. So I'm not that confident. I'm always like, whoever is the, like I'm always looking for like an authority figure to be like, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's like that shouldn't have this random masterclass marketing ad should not have that much authority over my life and the things that I'm thinking of doing. But really, God, it does freak you out. It does freak you out.
Masterclass marketing does make you feel like a loser.
I know it's supposed to make you feel motivated, but it doesn't make you feel motivated at all. It just makes you be like, oh, I guess my life is trash and I've done nothing. I started comedy at 27. Yeah. 28. I started comedy at like, it was January. I was 27 and I turned 28 in March. And I'm nervous to talk about my age now. I'm 31 and it's like freaky to start being like, oh, fuck, okay, now it's 31. It's not 30. The big birthday passed. Like I should just kind of stop talking about my age so I'm still relevant. Like I've had a friend of mine tell me that, you know, she doesn't want a lot of people to know her age because she still wants to be considered for you know, these credits of like new and up and coming comics. They're big credits, but you know, the idea of being like a new, young, exciting face in any entertainment sector, particularly comedy, because that's just the one I'm used to, but I'm sure I know it exists in every medium. But that idea of being like a new, fresh, hot young thing, I feel like the language around anything that you're getting when you're new in any sort of capacity or you're up and coming or whatever, it's all very like new, fresh, hot, like everything is about youthfulness. And there's really no other way to put it because you are talking about people who are, there's like emerging artists or whatever, but everything implies that you're like new and fresh at this. And the idea of being new and fresh at something when you're older is difficult when everybody who's getting that accolade or everybody who is coming onto the scene and being recognized for, you know, the start of their hopefully long and illustrious career is
26.
under the age of 40. And it used to be under the age of 30. Like at least it's changed a little bit now as people are, I think, realizing that, that people's lives are starting later. Like because we are not in the medieval times where people are like getting married and having children at 13. And then now we're not in this phase of people getting married and having children at 19, 20. I mean, it happens, but it's a little bit less common. You're seeing more and more people kind of restart their lives at different times throughout their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Like there's always going to be a story or there's always going to be like a group of people who are starting things at any point in their life. But we're seeing that a little bit more as kind of like a trend, I think, of people who don't figure it out at 18, 19, 20 years old, right? Like they used to, like in the 70s, 80s, that was everyone. You know, you figured out you wanted to do something in entertainment. You figured it out at 15, 16, 17, whatever. You moved to Chicago or New York or LA or whatever. And if you got really good and you were really good, then you did it. And that is awesome. And it's also terrifying. And, you know, it's freaky when you're like, I couldn't move to New York if I tried. I live in Canada. Like, you know, I could eventually, but to get a visa like that is crazy. And in this political climate, who knows? And blah, blah, blah. Like you can add on a million things, right, to that. But no one's getting a visa at 16 to go like do anything unless they've been signed as the next big pop star or whatever. And the more I'm saying stuff like this, the more it sounds like it's excuses. Maybe it is excuses. I don't know. But I didn't really have anything figured out. I still don't have anything figured out, but I didn't have anything that figured out. I knew what I wanted to do, but the path on how to get there was a little blurrier. And I also wasn't, I don't think, ready for it. I wasn't as talented. I wasn't as, I don't know. I wasn't as willing to try things. And I think that that's a big part of being talented too, is not just being like, I'm talented. Like there was definitely an element of me that was good at, I don't know, performing or doing something in entertainment, right? You see that with the kids who are in theater in high school. And, I got into an acting conservatory. So that's a little check in the right direction. But beyond that, I mean, the biggest thing for me was like, I was like, yeah, you got to go to university. My parents wanted me to go to university. So I got this 4-year degree in acting, a bachelor of fuck all, as we used to joke about it. But like, you get this BFA, you get this shiny thing. There was a class of 14 of us that graduated. You feel so exclusive. You feel so elite. And everyone's reminding you that no one's going to give a fuck once you leave university, but that doesn't matter to you because at the time you're in the 4th year of your school. And for us, we were putting on these big plays. We were going to school for long hours. We're going to school from like 9 to 5 and then rehearsal from 6 to 10. We were in these gorgeous costumes that were obviously like freaking put up by the university and funded by our tuitions that we paid, these hefty amounts of money that our parents paid or loans paid or whatever. And it was this big thing, right? Where it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're the 4th year conservatory actors. Like it was a big deal. And, we had the younger years basically waiting on us, right? Like all of the production teams, everything was built around these shows that we were doing. You had these, earlier year, like theater students who were volunteering on the shows. And we were kind of revered by them, right? Because it was always the 4th year acting students. Then you graduate. I got an agent like the day after I graduated, big agent, thrilled. Booked fucking nothing. I had maybe one audition a month. I had maybe one audition every 2 months. And I fucking hated auditioning. I hate auditioning. It's awful. You literally, especially a self-tape, but even not a self-tape, you're in a tiny little box room. You show up. You have no idea where you are. You're completely out of your element. You walk in with your script. You say hi to the people. You look at the camera. You look at the reader. You say hey, Jim, do you have a second? No? Okay. And then they go, great, take it again with a little bit more surprise. And you go, okay, hey, Jim, do you have a second? And then they go, thank you. And you fucking leave. And then you never hear anything ever again. And it's like that for everything.
Your whole career.
And if you're lucky, you get 4 Hey Jim auditions a month. And if you're not lucky, or if you're bad, or if you are, you do a couple auditions for that casting director, but then you don't nail it, or they tell you to do something different, like with surprise, but instead of doing it with surprise, you just kind of do it the same way you did it before, you can get secretly blacklisted. And those casting directors won't call you back in again because guess what? There's a million other people who look just like you, who can say the same stupid thing with the same stupid cadence. And it actually really doesn't matter that much. And all of a sudden you're in this world where you're like, I am not, all of the things I thought about myself, all of the moments that I spent trying to learn these crazy lines, or that I was like gender bending, playing, like I was playing Antony and Cleopatra, and I was doing Shakespeare, and I was doing these friggin' restorations. I was doing all this crazy shit. I was doing these big parts and big moments. I was feeling things and big, whatever, all these like really big things that you want to express when you are a performer, and the only like vehicle you have for that is acting at the time. Like, I mean, really, comedy is everything to me, but at the time it was acting, because acting was, the only way I knew how to do it. And so after these 4 years of school, 3 years in this conservatory, you leave, and all of your parts are, or you silently eating a chicken wing for a Sobeys commercial. Like, everything is just so fast. And if you lose it, or you're not very good at it, or you don't immediately get it, you just kind of fall by the wayside. And it's not anyone's fault. Like, this isn't necessarily something that casting directors or film crews need to change. They don't need to change it. And entertainment industry is extremely saturated. They have to see thousands of people every week for a bunch of million different roles. And sometimes it's just, who can do the job? Yeah, that person's, I've seen them before. Perfect. Yeah, no, that's fine. Perfect. Amazing. Slot them in there, because there's a bigger picture than just you and your, hey Jim, what are you doing line. You know, there's way more to this. If it's a commercial, the big thing is to get people to buy whatever product it is. And if it's a movie, guess what? They didn't cast the leads in Canada anyway. They're all coming up from the state and at the States. And at this point, you're just like a bit part and who cares? But then it creates this crazy thing where you've graduated with a class of people. You're still seeing each other and checking in on each other. And also you're very hyper aware of the entertainment industry in your city, not being a student anymore. So then you kind of launch into it, and then you start to meet other actors, or you start to catch up with your actor friends, some of whom are doing better than you, some of whom aren't. You start to see the other years graduate, you know, the year below you, their conservatory class, all of a sudden they're graduating. And guess what? That guy who you thought was actually really not fucking talented at all, who was really hacky and did the same stupid, bad Italian accent for every fucking thing, he's now the lead of a freaking TV show where he's like a gangster mafia leader, and that accent is actually working perfectly, and he is playing that part beautifully because that's his niche, and he found his niche and he stuck to it, and he's actually a really good actor when you look at him on screen. And all of a sudden, everything that you thought you knew, that world that you constructed in those 4 years of being special or feeling like the things you were doing were really important, even if you were reminded that you weren't special, even if you felt like shit. I mean, I had a freaking rampant eating disorder, bulimia. I was so insecure. I was always trying to make people laugh and never succeeding. I felt shitty about myself, about my ideas, about the things I was doing. And I had these moments of what felt like brilliance, and then they were immediately undercut with feeling really bad at what I was doing all the time, but then feeling like I had to fake it. But all of that, it's still, there's this sense of importance because your teachers and everyone around you, your directors, like they're hiring directors, big directors in Toronto to come in and mentor you and direct you. And you're able to see what you can do. You're able to be shown the magnitude of what you could do if you got given that opportunity. But what you don't see after that is everything else that comes around it, and how unimportant you become, how back to square one you have to start to get to that place. The place that you're in school is basically preparing you for what happens if you're actually successful at this. They don't give you any coaching on how to be successful at it. This is just how to do it at a high level if somebody gives you a shot. They don't give you any shots. Nobody can give you a shot. Your shots are either made yourself or given to you, sure, by, you know, auditions or directors or whatever. But then the thing I hated most about acting, and that I still do, is that because you're constantly seeing people who you had one idea of in school and they're starting to do differently, because everything's different. It's the Wild West once you leave. All of a sudden, you feel this incessant need to be proving to everyone that you're doing great, even when you're not. You do not develop the skill of being able to say, hey, I'm actually feeling like I'm really bad at this, because you're also a younger person in your 20s who's convinced that you should know everything. So you take that plus a theater kid energy and then mix it all together with this inflated sense of self-importance, undercut with a deep hatred for yourself. You put that out in the world. You give them about a year or two of failed auditions, and you have the recipe for probably one of the most annoying people you've ever met in your whole entire fucking life. And I was that person. Like, I felt annoying when I would talk about things. I felt like I was always hopeful for this next stupid thing that I didn't even want. And you have no control, and you could take control. You could produce your own things. And I mean, you know, I dabbled in that, but never really held on to anything seriously. Or you could do what I did, and you could become a server and a bartender and hold on and hope that you're going to get the next big audition and do a couple things with your friends. And, you know, just kind of let the years start going by really fast. And I mean, all of that changed when I changed it. Like, you have to be the one who's going to change it. And so I guess I understand, you know, like I understand the masterclass Mindy Kalings of the world being like, if I can do it, you can do it. You just have to change your life. Because I did that. I changed my life. I moved to Vancouver. I knew absolutely no one here, except for a couple of acquaintances who are now some of my best friends. Shout out Emily and Alicia. And I had been here maybe once when I was a kid, visiting family in White Rock, and we maybe drove in for the day, but I have no memory of Vancouver. So I just kind of moved here because it was the other Canadian city where entertainment is around, and I knew I wanted to try stand-up, and I didn't want to try it in my city. And then everything started aligning, and then, you know, 3 years and a few months later, stand-up is close to a full-time career, which is nuts. That's crazy. It's not quite there, but it's almost there. To go from honestly probably paying for acting way more than I was making. For sure, I was doing that because I was paying for like workshops and other stuff, to making a lot of money at something that I actually love way more. I mean, like I would always go back to acting if it was something I really liked, because I enjoyed the actual act of doing it, but the world around it, I just can't fucking stand. And also I don't care because I have comedy. There's something about that, there's something really special about that, but it didn't happen for me at 16, 17. It didn't get me to New York and Chicago and with all these groups. I didn't have that experience. I didn't, I found people who I love and who I, like to work with and all of that fun stuff, but I didn't find like my group of people that became the Saturday Night Live cast. Like, it was a little more homegrown for me, I guess. It didn't happen in that same way. And yeah, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm the exact same as all of these like very successful, talented, famous, funny people or writers. But I do think that they're also just people who did it to the highest degree and worked really hard and developed their skills. And I admire that a lot. I just don't think it's as easy to do that for some of us. Obviously it's not, otherwise everyone would do it. But I also think it doesn't mean that it's over. Like, it doesn't mean that I just go, okay, well, I'm not Mindy Kaling or Amy Poehler and therefore I suck and shouldn't be doing this. Because what if there's greatness in my story too? It just hasn't happened yet. Or it has happened in smaller doses and it's the trajectory of it, but it started later. It started at 28 and it didn't start at 19, and then there's the other side of it where I go, fuck, you can't be worrying all the time about where you're going to get to and what you need to achieve, because you kind of just do it because you love to do it. And that's the nice thing about it too, is, aside from these moments where I'm obviously alone on a podcast talking and leading myself into maybe deeper corners and recessions of my mind, I think a lot of the time I'm just happy to be doing it. Like, I'm just happy to be doing it at any capacity. I'm happy to do shows for free. I'm happy to be going out and doing shows, doing this, living a life where I'm doing a podcast for 7 people. It doesn't feel bad. It feels right, but it can feel bad when all I'm ever seeing is these examples of people who made it at 20 and otherwise you're irrelevant. Because I don't think that's true. I don't think it's just you make it at 20, otherwise you're irrelevant. Like, I think there's got to be more room than that if you carve it out, So anyway, I wish Masterclass would really stop advertising that way, because it's not helping. Okay, it's not inspirational Masterclass. It's sending some of us into a little bit of crises mode. The sad thing is, I know who they're marketing to, though, and it's not even me, and it's not even you, and it's not even any of us. It's people who will buy Masterclass because they're like, yeah, I could get into comedy writing, and then they will never do it. They'll never try it even for a minute. They're not really marketing to people who've already started something. They're marketing to people who have hope that they'll start something and unfortunately won't. What do you mean?
Everyone wants to do something.
Everybody wants to do something, but a lot of people won't.
100%.
Because that's the scariest trap. Like, as I was talking just there, and I was talking about like my trajectory versus the trajectory of Mindy Kaling, I immediately became acutely aware of how silly it sounds for me to be comparing myself again with my 7 podcast followers and, being a person who's relatively unknown, like almost completely unknown, to somebody who is famous for the exceptional award-winning work that they do in the world of comedy writing. I realize that that's insane. I realize that that's nuts. But I do think there has to be some sort of element where you feel like you could get yourself to that level or to that place if you're going to do something like this. If I'm going to do comedy and I'm not going to look at or observe or study or even compare myself to the careers of people who have done it to the most successful level, then really what am I doing? If I want to just do this as a hobby, I guess that's totally fine. But if you want to do this as a career, I don't think it's a bad idea to be like, I actually think and know that I am capable of that level of work. You know, I don't know that I'm necessarily capable of that story. That story is not my story, but I know I'm not capable of that story. It's someone else's. However, to not compare yourself to people who are successful at what you want to do, I think you're missing out. And I think that's something that can easily trip us up too, because as I was speaking like that, I was like, who the fuck am I to be comparing myself in that way? But you kind of have to, because if you keep undercutting yourself, if you keep telling yourself, oh yeah, but that's, you know, that's that person and I'm never going to be that person, then great, you're never going to be that person. You're never going to be the person who does it differently. I hear it all the time in comedy. There's so many rules around comedy. I didn't really know all the rules around comedy, and then you join comedy and they're telling you crazy things like you can't wear shorts on stage, and you're like, okay, you know, like, and that's just a made up rule. Like nobody put that in a rule book that you have to follow or you're going to get arrested. It's just a made up rule. Or people will tell me things all the time about like different opportunities that I've gotten, and it's, you know, it's this, it's that, it's not the same, it's because it's for this reason, and all of it just sounds like shitty bad excuses to me. And I realize that that might sound naive to someone who's been doing this for a long time, or maybe who's been in a specific comedy or entertainment scene in a specific city for a long time. Like if you've been in the Vancouver comedy scene for 10 plus years, you're going to have an opinion on the way things go, because you're going to have seen a trajectory of a lot of people following one path or another. You're going to have seen people who come in really hot and then lose steam and eventually leave. You're going to see people who, you know, get successful and then end up leaving, and, you know, you're going to observe how they do it. And you might start to see patterns, because that's what we do. We make patterns out of things. You know, we start to find little ways to make sense of our environment. And if you've been in the same environment and same community for a long time, it would make sense that you would do that. The unfortunate thing, though, is that it doesn't leave any room for some of the craziest and wildest things that happen in any, you know, field of work or I don't know, like space, but particularly in entertainment is creativity. Creativity is surprising. It's new, it's different, it's exciting, and you never know what comes from it. There are so many possibilities. There's a world of possibilities. And if you decide that there isn't because you've seen it done a specific way, or you've observed it, or all of the things that you've put into place just fits your worldview, I just don't think you're being very intelligent. Like, I don't think it's naive to think that there's other ways to do things. That's literally how people invent and create and do things differently. And it doesn't have to be comedy. It can be in any field. You know, if you're just walking into your job every single day going, well, this is how it's always been done, so this is how we do it. Yeah, that's what the whole world thrives off of, is people doing things the exact same way. But the whole world moves forward, and the whole world finds new ways of doing things and new ways of being creative through people who do it differently, and who show you that there's a possibility and a way to do it differently. It's like the Muppets. Nobody wanted to see. I might have talked about this on the podcast already. I don't care. I'm going to bring it up again because I'm sure no one has listened to all of these episodes except for Riley and my family. But the friggin' Muppets made no sense, because nobody was doing puppets for adults. Nobody was doing puppets in the mainstream on TV. It made no fucking sense. It was turned down. And now the Muppets is the fucking Muppets. Everyone knows who the Muppets is. So like, that's crazy to me, because if you had been in the puppeteering space back whenever the Muppets and Jim Henson came along and brought the Muppets to life, like, you would be like,
good luck, buddy.
Good luck, idiot. That we're literally children's entertainers. You think you're going to be a children's entertainer for adults? You fucking loser. You pervert.
You're sick.
You're sick. You sick whore. They probably called him a sick whore. Jim the Whore. What's his name? Jim Henson. Jim the Whore Henson. That works.
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison. Yeah. No, that's Jim Morrison. Jim.
Who was the slut?
Jim's. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, but you would be like, dude, we're children's entertainers. Why the fuck are you trying to put puppets on into movies and onto TV for adults? And now the Muppets have been hosting Saturday Night Live.
That's crazy.
The Muppets have been everywhere. The Muppets are beloved by people of all ages and have gone into the mainstream. So I guess all I'm saying is like, yeah, you can be someone who decides that you understand the way things work. And that is a very comfortable place to be, because especially if you are aware and intelligent and you are able to observe patterns, you can become a wise person in the realm of what you're seeing. You can become someone who really knows the way things work. It's like when you go to a new job, like a serving job or something, there's always like the one bartender that's been there for 10 years and just knows all the ins and outs and tips and tricks and whatever. They're not necessarily doing anything creative or inventive. They've just figured out the system so well, and that they can play to it. And that's fine. Like if that's what you want to do, that certainly would be what I did at my day jobs, because like I don't have a desire to reinvent the wheel while I'm serving at a brew house. Like I'm fine to just do it the way it's been done. But if you have something in your life that you're really passionate about, just, I don't know, just do whatever you feel like you can do, and don't worry about the way it's been done before. I used to get so hung up when I was like trying to act. I put acting lightly because I really wasn't acting. I was trying to, but I wasn't. But I would get so hung up on the way things had to be, on applying for things in the right way, on not asking for too much, on not like putting myself out there or ever doing anything differently. And it got me absolutely fucking nowhere. No one cared about me. I was boring. I faded into the background. I was truly, truly unexceptional in every way. And then I don't know, something happened when I decided I wanted to try something new. I just did it. I just was like, I'm just going to do this. And I just did it. And if you just think you're going to do something and you do it, and you're not afraid of thinking that you could be great, and you're not afraid of, I don't know, trying your best not to put yourself down as much as humanly possible, which is impossible for all of us, I know, but you have to. You have to have some little shred of you that just goes, I'm just going to do it. You don't even have to think about it for too long. You don't even have to be like, oh no, I'm not going to do it because I'm not as good as this person. I could never be like this person. I would never want to be like this person, blah, blah, blah. You just have to like have a thought and then do it. And the more that you just don't give yourself enough time to talk yourself out of it, the better that it is. That's why they say taking risks is such a good thing, because risks aren't calculated. Like a lot of people will say you have to take calculated risks. I would argue, no, I don't think you do. Maybe you have to think about the thing that you're doing before you do it. If it's like a huge investment or, starting a business, sure, maybe you have to have a little bit more calculation. But I would say all of the mini risks that lead you up to making that big calculated risk just have to be kind of from intuition. You just have to feel it out. You have to not give yourself too much time, and you just have to go for it. I have no idea how we got from the grills thing to here, because we were talking about like fantasies and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just, I'm becoming very aware while I'm doing this podcast, and it is really good for me to do, which I like. But obviously it can feel extremely self-involved to be the only person talking for 45 minutes to an hour, with some chime-ins from Aaron, which I always appreciate, but mostly just me. I become very aware of what I'm saying in moments, and then I have this like serious urge to correct it all the time, where I go, oh, I can imagine how someone would hear me saying that, and they would just be like, come on, Cass, idiot, loser. Don't say it like that. But my best moments, or the moments that I feel like I'm on fire, whether it's, something that's just silly, or it's something that I feel like I really want to talk about. I feel like the moments that I can look back and go, yeah, that was good. That was like what I was saying. I dig that. I'm good with that. I dig it, brother. I like that. Whenever I feel that way, it's usually when I'm just kind of thinking on a roll. I'm not self-criticizing so quickly. And that's something that I got told very early on in comedy was, you can't edit if you don't let yourself create first. So if you try to have a creative idea and then immediately edit it and tweak it and make it perfect, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot every time. You kind of have to let yourself be bad and cringy and maybe unfunny and maybe hack and maybe all of those other things that you could use to describe yourself, in order to kind of flow it out and eventually find something that you go, oh yeah, I could work with that. And then sure, yeah, you have to edit, you have to whatever. But it's the same thing with like, with anything, with taking risks, with, I think you could apply it to like any creative pursuit or career or thing that you want to do with your life, like I think if you really have like a passion for doing it at the best level, and not everyone does, like some people want to like fun, easy, soft life, and I do really, I love that, I admire that. I wish I could just look at a leaf and be like, life is beautiful. But if you have like a passion that you really want to go for, I think the first part is just kind of going in crazy blind and just doing stuff, and then you can edit.
Trusting your intuition.
Yeah. Just going for it. And your intuition's not always going to be right. Like you should see some of the shit I write down when I'm writing and I'm in my notebook. Some of it's garbage. Some of it is the reading level of a third grader. Like it's really bad. I'm not even being hard on myself or like, it's genuinely terrible. I reread some of the things I've written down and I go, who wrote that? Somebody whose brain wasn't fully developed? Like it's mush. It's actually mush on paper. But I don't know. It's like you have to put out the mush in order to get through to the good stuff. And maybe there's no good stuff for a while, and that's okay too. Like I don't know. It's like kind of one of the hard parts of doing anything or trying to do anything, is that a big part of it is just like taking big leaps and putting yourself out there and just trying stuff. Like that's what this is. It's just us trying something. Aaron came to me and he was like, I want to do a podcast with you. And originally we wanted it to be an advice podcast.
Yeah, but no one had any questions.
Yeah, maybe they will someday, and that'll be great. Yeah, and who knows what it'll turn into, but it's...
that was my intuition.
Yeah.
Your advice was so good that it needed to be in the world, and I was like, everyone's going to want to ask questions, but they never did.
Well,
but they will.
They haven't yet.
If you build it, they'll come, because we don't promote it because we're scared.
Yeah, we are scared. Maybe that's the next thing.
100%. I have some questions.
Yeah?
If you're done talking about what you're done talking about.
Yeah, no, I think we're good on that one. So what do you got?
From our show last night.
Yeah, we did a couples counseling show, sold out show. That was sick.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
And there's some questions that people never got to ask.
Oh yeah, people ask questions for us, for both of us in the audience. And so I guess we are getting questions, eh?
Yeah, they're just not directly for us.
That's okay.
If you were a TV couple, which show would you most likely be on?
You and me?
Yeah.
Pinky and the Brain.
What is that?
I'm Pinky, you're the Brain.
Is that weird adult cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The Brain is like, we're going to take over the world. And he's like this little angry...
I'm the Brain.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's fun.
And he's like, we're going to do what we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. And then they're lab mice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember this.
They're laboratory mice. It's a kid's show. I don't think it's an adult cartoon. Maybe it is.
It's a bit of a creepy one.
It's creepy. Yeah. And so they're laboratory mice and they're trying to take over the world. And so the Brain is like very intelligent. It has a huge dome, just like you. Yeah. And he's a short king. And then Pinky is, in my mind, he's his gay lover, but I think they're just friends. But Pinky is like this tall, like, yeah, kind of goofy, gangly guy. And that's me for sure. And then you're the Brain and we're in love.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That is kind of our vibe.
Mm-hmm.
My intuition is not towards entertainment always.
That's okay.
I like schemes.
You love schemes.
The podcast studio is a scheme, and then the show's a scheme, and I'm like, when I get a little bit of a dopamine rush, I'm like, let's keep it going.
You're such a schemer.
Let's build it up.
Yeah.
Here's another question.
Okay.
This could be an advice. She thinks squirting is essential in our relationship. I can't make that happen. Whose fault is it? Can we recover from this?
It's an interesting question.
I wonder if it's true.
I like how I'm being so serious. It's an interesting question about squirting.
If she can squirt.
No. Here's the thing. Squirting, we know this. We've talked about this. Squirting is piss. Comes from the same place. And it also doesn't have to coincide with an orgasm. You can just like squirt with no orgasm. So
why would she think it's essential?
That sounds like the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. Like, I don't ever think I've never once in my entire freaking life ever heard a woman be like, I need to squirt. It's essential for me in a relationship. Never even one time. Never. I hang out with lesbians.
Yeah.
I've been in lesbian relationships. Never once heard that.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe there's someone out there that says squirting is essential. But if she can't squirt, there's no way she would have decided that squirting is essential.
That's a good point.
If she can't squirt, why would she ever come up with that?
Yeah.
Why would she ever come up with that? That's like me being like, I'm a vegan, but it's essential for me to eat chicken wings every day.
But if
That
she
makes
can,
no fucking sense.
If she can, then wouldn't she be able to just do it?
If she can squirt, then he can make her squirt and they can figure it out together. They just need to be a little bit maybe more open and accepting of each other. Because sometimes like
He says he can't make it happen. Whose fault is it?
it's not his fault.
He's looking for blame.
Well, if she's actually like, if you can't make me squirt, we're done, then she's probably looking for an excuse to break up with you. So just
That's the next question. Can we recover from this?
No.
It's because
But first of all, I think it's a lie. If it's true, if it's actually a real question and it's true, I feel like that sounds like a how to lose a guy in 10 days way of trying to get rid of somebody.
classic 2007.
Yeah. So obviously no, like if she's not making it like a comfortable enough environment for you to try to help her squirt, then like obviously, yeah, leave it. I just don't know any woman that would say that, so I'm hesitant to even give advice on this because it feels like a fucking lie. It actually feels like the other way around. Like he thinks squirting is essential for a relationship. He's never been able to make her do it. She's going, babe, I really don't care about this, and he's like, I have to, otherwise we will never recover.
I watch so much porn, and this is not much.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Squirting is like nothing.
His next question was also, I hate her grandma, but she adores her.
I feel like this guy has a made-up relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a real person involved. Maybe there is. I don't know. If you hate someone's grandma, just wait. They'll die.
5 years.
Grandmas at this age, they be dying.
If your partner had a theme song playing every time they walked into a room, what would it be and why?
Oh, wait. Let me think about this.
If I had a theme song.
Ooh, that's a really good question. Do you know what your answer would be for me?
For you?
Yeah.
It's like the song of the minute for you.
So, yeah, whatever song I have going.
Yeah. A bird is gonna shit on me.
You loved that one.
That's from episode 12. Check it out.
Check it out. Wasn't it episode 13?
No, we're on 13 now.
I thought we're on 14 now.
14. That's from episode 13. Check it out.
Check it out. Check it out.
A bird's gonna shit on me.
A bird is gonna
What was that song last night at the end of Lady and the Tramp? No, at the end of
He's
Goofy.
a tramp. What?
No, at the end of the extremely Goofy movie.
Oh. You make me feel like dancing. That one?
No, that's not it.
Oh, the one at the very end?
Yeah, the credit song.
Ooh, and it's all right, and it's going how we gotta get right back to where we started from. Love is good, love can be strong. You gotta get it right back to where we started from.
That song's fun.
That song is really fun. What would your song be? I'm trying to think. It would be something like
A gong.
no. A gong?
Just a gong.
Just a gong. Just going off? No, it's got to be something like faster and like
The
jazzy.
CBC
It's like
news
ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, it's just tonight on CBC. Do women deserve to have hands?
CBC's not sexist.
Sorry. Do men deserve to have hands?
It's centrist.
It's centrist? Yeah, you're obsessed with CBC.
Mm-hmm.
CBC, what would yours be?
I think it actually makes me sadder.
What, CBC? Yeah, I don't think it's helping you.
But I miss it when I don't have it for too long.
I know.
I just need depression and nervousness.
Yeah, you love depression and anxiety. Ugh, what would be your song?
Okay, I'll give you another question. You can come back.
Okay.
To it. What is the most absurd thing your partner has ever spent money on and tried to justify?
Oh my God.
This girl had good questions. I wish we asked them.
Everything. Literally everything. Absurd thing that you spent money on?
Gold panning kit?
I mean, there's so many more absurd things that just doesn't even feel like it.
$2,000 for a new suspension that made it worse?
Yeah, $2,000 for a suspension that you installed with your grumpy car mechanic yourself.
Yeah.
That didn't even fucking work, and you still had to take it to an auto shop.
That was sad.
That was crazy. I mean, in fairness to you though, like you've made a lot of weird purchases, but they're not usually like super expensive because you know how to get things for cheap,
Podcast studio,
which is
kinda
nice.
expensive.
Podcast studio was expensive for sure,
It's
but
a weird one.
it's a very strange one. Very strange. Very strange. You bought a lot of plants,
Those are free.
but they're a lot of them were free. A lot of them you took. A lot of them you found or whatever. Like you found a lot of like random equipment. Honestly, I wish the question was just like, what is something you hoarded? Because the answer would be every single thing in our house that you've hoarded, but you don't really buy a lot of things that are expensive.
You don't either.
No. Okay, what was the other question?
Theme song, got that one.
Mhm.
Oh, this one's cute. If one of you turned into a worm, how would your other half take care of your new worm form?
I would get lost in the shuffle because Aaron would be farming worms and there would be a bathtub of more worms and then he would not even find me. He would lose me.
Well, you would.
I'd be the special worm.
You'd seek me. Yeah, I'd give you a little bow tie.
Oh. Would you put me in there with all the other worms though?
For friendship.
But I'm not a worm. I'm a human in a worm body. So like, I don't think
but
I'd
you're
get
still
along.
sociable. I'd make you a worm farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I just wanted to hang out with you? Would you take me with you? Like in the car and stuff?
Yeah, but then you dry out. So
But you take me in a little dirt cup?
Yeah, give you your own little dirt. I'd make you a passenger princess.
Yeah.
Put you in the cup holder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were a worm, I'd probably like taxidermy you and make you into a keychain.
If you swap bodies for a day, what's the first thing you do?
Oh my God.
These are
pee.
better. Piss standing up?
Yeah. These are good.
Kelly, you didn't give us good ones.
Okay. She was doing a lot that night. Don't blame her.
She's fired. What is your... You just pee?
If I was traded places with you for a day, I would pee.
Jerk it?
And no, we'd be trading places. I would be like, we have to have sex.
Whoa.
I need to know what it's like to have sex with my vagina.
You'd be turned
Going
off.
into a war zone, yeah. I'd be turned off.
I'm just kidding.
You dick.
I'd get fucked by my own dick?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You'd be turned off too.
Yeah,
See how nice it was to be so deeply unsatisfied.
Definitely.
You ass.
What else would you do? I'd go on stage as you and say some incel shit.
You need to be closer to the mic.
I'd go on stage as you and say some incel shit.
Yeah, no, we heard you still. What would I do? I wouldn't go on stage. I'd probably not have any shows.
That's hilarious. Try to hop on something. Try to get an open mic.
Yeah, try to get on mic. I would definitely go interact with a lot of people just to see what it would be like to interact with people as a man. I think that would be like a really interesting experiment.
Yeah. I'm not much of a man.
You are.
No.
To
What?
people who don't know you.
Yeah. You've ever forgave someone but still bring it up with full dramatic flair?
Sorry, one more time?
Have you ever forgave something to your partner
Mm-hmm.
but still bring it up with full dramatic flair? You do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's called being a woman.
No.
You move on, but you remember. You never forget.
I move on, but I remember, and I roast you very specifically for it. So don't just paint all women with the same brush. It's a very good
Women
and
are
specific skill.
Smarter than men on average.
Just in different ways.
Yeah, good memory. What is your partner's biggest red flag that you decide to ignore?
Yeah, we did ask this one at the show.
We did?
Yeah, but what do you think? You asked answer
your
for me.
biggest red flag? Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I like all your qualities.
Can't wait to fight about this later.
I like your qualities that the things you hate are also the things you love. Oh, sorry. The things you hate are also the things you love.
What do you mean?
Things that frustrate me, I'm always like looking back and like I would miss them if they weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your biggest red flag that I choose to ignore is that you've cheated on every other woman that you've ever been with.
That's a good one. Second, who's punching up?
And I'm so delusional that I'm like, it's not going to happen to me.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. If it did, I would just sleep with everyone.
Fuck everybody.
But I don't think you're going to cheat on me.
Who's
and
punching
therefore
up?
I'm not going to. What?
Who's punching up?
Between you and I?
Yeah.
Different ways. I mean, like,
There's
I
a
think.
reason I'm behind the camera.
Well, no, I think that there would be a lot of people who would say that you are punching up, but I think also it's just because I'm like taller and louder. But I think, I don't know. I don't really like the punching up thing. I actually think we're like extremely well matched. I feel like you understand my brain in a way that I've never had with a partner before. And that's my favorite thing. And also you do things that I cannot do. Like building this entire podcast studio, like your entrepreneurial spirit, the way that you think about things, the way you bring people together and like collect, I don't know, information and ideas, your work ethic. Like I admire a lot of those things about you. Maybe they're not like punching up qualities, but I think that they're amazing. And they're also, I'm really grateful for them because a lot of times they're qualities that I don't have. Like I just don't have those things. And so it's so nice to have someone who can compliment you in that way. Like the areas that I excel in are areas maybe that you need some help. And then the areas that you excel in are areas that I definitely need help. So I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
No one can keep everything.
Well, no, and I wouldn't want to.
Island.
I wouldn't want to. When I was younger, I wanted to be everything. I wanted to be like the coolest, the hottest, the funniest, the this, the that, the other, whatever, because you just want to be exceptional in every way. And then now I'm like, no, I think I know where my strengths are and I'm okay with that. And then I also know areas where just like, I just suck at that. There's just, it is so freeing to just admit that you suck at stuff.
Yeah.
And not in a self-deprecating way, not in a way where it's like, I'm never going to do that. Like, if you want to be good at something, work hard to be good at it.
Yeah.
But there's something great about just being like, I'm good at these things and I suck at these other ones.
You know you can get better.
Yeah, or there's some things I just don't care to get better in because I only have so much energy and time in this life. And I'm sorry.
If you really want to get good at something, you can.
What?
If you really want to get good at something, you can.
I'm saying, honey, there's things I don't give a fuck about being good at.
100%. But I'm saying, like, it's nice to know that, yeah, life's finite, but if you really want to make something happen, you can. Like, I didn't know how to fucking podcast.
Oh, you're relating it to that. Yeah,
I didn't know how, like, anything you want. Like, you didn't know how to do comedy.
No. But that's something I really wanted to do. I'm saying it's also freeing to say you suck at. It's freeing to say you suck at something you want to be good at and you want to be better, for sure.
And you can just do it.
It's also freeing to say that you're decent or okay at something that you want to be better at. Like I feel that way about comedy. I want to be a lot better than I am now, and that's why I do it all the time. I want to work on getting better. But it's also freeing to be like, I suck at that thing and I actually don't care about getting better at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you find someone who doesn't suck at that thing, who's actually very good at that thing, you can really like admire them for it. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, I like that part.
I like that part too.
Yeah.
Here, last question.
Okay.
And this might require some real advice to someone out there. How do you handle a shithead spouse who doesn't like celebrating your special days?
Ooh.
You lived with this.
What do you mean?
Didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ex thought birthdays are really stupid.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Leave them.
Yeah?
Just leave them. The thing is, we're so precious about everything. Even everything I've said today, nothing matters. Just leave somebody. If it's not good, just leave them. I know it'll be hard and it'll be insane and it'll be difficult, but you can fucking do it. You can do anything that you want to do, and you can also just leave them.
What if it's fine, though?
What do you mean?
It's just fine.
Leave if it's fine. Leave if it's okay. Leave if it's pretty good. Leave if it is anything other than absolutely exceptional. Unless you're fine with not having an exceptional life.
Damn.
I'm not. The reason I talk like this and do all this and everything I do is because the one thing that has been true as much as I have learned and grown and changed and whatever is that I've always, always, always felt like I will lead an exceptional life. And I want to lead an exceptional life. And if you don't want to lead, and there's been many years, don't get me wrong, there's been many years where I have not been leading an exceptional life. I haven't been leading anything close to an exceptional life. I've been leading an extraordinarily average life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying the want or the desire or the knowledge that you'll have an exceptional life is enough to have it. You have to do a lot more to get it. But if you want it, get it. And you're not going to get it by doing the same thing that is just fine or okay or half decent or good. And you should be really or try to learn to be not so afraid of going through things that are really difficult and hard and shitty and send you into bad places. I know that sounds bad and whatever, but those are good things. They make you stronger. There's a reason why we can't even conceive of people in centuries past who used to do, crazy things, who used to battle and whatever, war even. I'm not saying we should go to war. I'm just saying your reality right now and what you think you're capable of is not what you're capable of. You are capable of so much. People who feel strongly about something, or people who want something, or I think people have shown us since time immemorial that we are capable of quite a lot. Like, it's horrible that we are ruining the planet in the way we are, but no other species was able to dominate a planet the way we were. So I know that sounds a little bit capitalist, and I'm not trying to be too fucking crazy here. I think there's a lot of power and responsibility in being the species that has dominated the planet. I don't think we are doing the right thing with that power and responsibility. I think we are now stepping on ourselves because we have tried to outsmart ourselves so much that we're going to bury ourselves in the ground. I think that's just scientifically what's going to happen with climate change, unfortunately. However, when you take it down to the individual being, to the individual person, and the place that we're in right now, because, we're still going to get to live out anybody who's hearing this and who's alive right now is still, hopefully probably going to get to live out their life without any serious and catastrophic effects of our world's collapsing. That got like so dark and deep all of a sudden. But anyway, I just feel like, if you take it down to maybe not the existential universe shit, but just down to the essence of people, you are capable of way more than you think you are. You are capable of doing things that might shock you. You are capable of doing great evil, and you are also capable of doing great good. And you are not automatically evil because you had an evil thought, but if you continue to do like shitty actions, you can easily wake up one day and not realize that your self-alignment is very off, and the way that you view yourself is not actually who you've become. Same thing in the other direction. You can view yourself as a person from, humble beginnings, and then start to do things that align with your passions, and wake up one day and realize that you're, someone who you weren't before. That you're somebody with a lot more capabilities and skills and talents than you once thought yourself, or that you once were. Mm-hmm. And it works in both ways. And so I know this is a long way off of the original question, but I feel like if you are in a relationship that is just fine, or you are in a situation that is just fine, or you're in a job or a career, whatever, anything that is just fine or good, fuck that. Want more. Want exceptional. You're not going to get exceptional unless you want it. You're not going to get great stuff unless you think that you can get great stuff, unless you think that you're that good, unless you tell the little voice that got me about halfway through this podcast when I was, comparing myself to people who are great. Like, you have to tell that voice to shut up. You have to compare yourself to people who are great. You have to look at the best relationships and the best loves and the best successes, and you have to align yourself with those things. And if you don't, There's no guarantee that you'll get it. Maybe every once in a blue moon, somebody gets things that just get dropped into their lap. But there's a big commonality I see with people who have great things in their life, whether it's relationships or, just anything. And it's people who they allow themselves to have it and they believe that they can have it, and then they don't get in their own way. So go through the hard thing. Hard things are good. Hard things teach you things. They teach you lessons. If you don't go through hard stuff, it's very hard to push yourself to grow. If you're having a hard time right now, or you're having a hard time in a relationship, like, go easy on yourself. You don't have to do anything right now, but it is very easy to let a lot of time in your life go by just because today's not the right day to end something. Today's not the right day to do whatever. Or like I was saying to Aaron earlier, time just becomes like soup. Like every day is, okay, I get up and I do this and I talk to this person and I do that. And it just becomes like your world is very curated around you, and it becomes really easy to just live that way and never wake up one day and have that epiphany that you need to change it. When I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in, I used to look to big major events like, oh, we'll just get to Christmas. And then after that, if I needed to, I could break up with this person. And ultimately, after 8 years, I wasn't even the one who broke up with that person. So I never did it. There was never a date. There was never a good time. There was never the right moment. It just didn't happen. Life just kind of continued on. So nothing is ever just going to, in my experience, nothing's ever just going to kind of show up and make it easy for you to make those hard decisions. That's why they're hard decisions. If you are wanting to live consciously in your life and your relationship is just fine or just okay or good, stop thinking about anything else and just get yourself out of it. Because even if you have a million excuses as to why it would hurt that person or break their heart or whatever, that's okay. Let them have their exceptional love too. Let them go into an exceptional place too. Let them, go through the hard thing and then be thankful on the other side. Let them be responsible for their own life. Like, it's okay. It is not an insult to someone to say, I don't want to be with you. It feels like it is, but it's not. If you don't have an exceptional love and you want one, go get one. If you want an exceptional life and you don't have one, no one is going to knock on your door one day with a letter that says, here's your key to an exceptional life. It's just never going to happen. So go get it or don't, and deal with the fact that you made a choice.
That's some heavy stuff.
We did get really heavy today. We started a little silly and then we got really for serious.
Super
serials. I still never came up with a theme song for Aaron, but I think one that really rings true is Highway to Hell. I'm on the highway to hell.
I drive fast.
Because you drive fast and you're driving straight to hell. You don't give a fuck if there's stop signs. You're going.
Taking you with me.
Yeah, I know.
That's cute.
Hell seems fun though.
It's also CanCon, isn't it?
Highway to Hell?
Oh no, that's Life is a Highway.
Yeah, Life is a Highway is a shit song.
Hey, Tom Cochran.
Life is a Highway is way more leisurely. When I hear Life is a Highway, I'm like, oh, we're going through winding roads or whatever.
It's Boomer Rock.
Highway to Hell is we're going guns a-blazing. We're not stopping for no one.
Boomer Rock is all about driving.
Hell. That's what they were doing.
It's really fucking sad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's really sad.
It's so car culture.
Nothing wrong with that.
I hate car culture.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough of that for today. Thank you to everybody who's listening to the podcast. If you would like to, yeah, we really couldn't. If you would like to, we'd probably do it anyway. But
yeah, we could do it without you.
No, we need it. It's the thing that keeps us going. If you have any questions for us, I'll say it every time. You can email askthepodcass@gmail.com. I would love that. And